I am here with the team behind Othello-San and a couple of my favorite people nonetheless, Ted Adams and son Theo Adams. Theo, you are the lead in this picture. Congratulations, that's amazing. Tell me a little bit about it.
Othello-San is for anybody trying to chase a dream. It reminds us that, especially in another culture or country, that there are universal truths that transcend race, religion, and culture.
Awesome. And Yuki, you play a college professor in this movie.
It's acting school professor.
Acting school professor. Yeah, very different. No college needed. Okay, great. Tell me a little bit about it. Did you have fun making this picture? Did you love your role? I know Ted is standing right beside you, so that's the perfect time for me to ask these questions. But tell me a little bit about the process.
So this story is set in a Japanese acting school, and Ted wrote it. But when I read it, I thought it was my story as well. It had that kind of really universal feeling to it. Like anyone who struggle getting into a new industry can relate to. And I immediately fell in love with it, and I was so honored to be considered for the role, and I auditioned for it. And so the shooting was nothing but, amazing. Like everyone was so.
I can speak to that. Ted and Theo, amazing people to work with. And did you guys shoot that here in Virginia?
Yes.
Excellent.
George Mason University.
Where?
George Mason University.
George Mason.
Very cool, keeping it close to home. And you are the brains behind this whole thing, sir. Tell me a little bit about what made you want to make this picture.
So it started as a program to help. Theo was actually studying in Japan at the time when I wrote it. And we were texting each other because he was having some hard times getting through the language schools and acting. And I said, well, let's why don't you shoot a short in Japan and then recruit some good players to play in the film. So we talked about some ideas, and I came up with an idea that's based on some other movies and concepts, and we came up with a thing. I thought about what I would say to my younger self. So with Othello-San, it's kind of like, I don't know if Theo thinks I'm picking on him, but it's really old Ted talking to young Ted about what it means to go into another culture and really respect the people that you're working with. So it does touch on universal truths, which is why we used Shakespeare, because it's one of those storytellers that has a story that will transcend many, many cultures and generations.
I was just going to ask you why we chose Othello. Othello-san is a very cool name, but why did that speak to you in particular, that work?
Well, you've got an issue with race coming into, dealing with Shakespeare's time. And then with here, you've got the story's about an African-American actor who's done very well in the U.S., who goes to Japan to join a Japanese theater group. So the issues of race, does it play an issue with that or not? The other thing that's kind of tricky is, even though he's an African-American, the Japanese students are also minorities. So the Japanese culture plays into it, the American culture dream plays into it, the idea of masks comes into it. There's a lot of sub ideas that are going on in this story.
It sounds very cool. How is it going so far at the fest, you guys? World premiere! Yay! All right, so I'm not behind the times. Okay, great. I can check it out. Well, I'm very excited for you. This is amazing. Such a huge accomplishment. I had the privilege of working with you guys on another film. Super glad that you're back at it again. Try was a great picture you guys should see. And Yuki, it's so nice to meet you. Good luck here at the fest, you guys. We're all rooting for you. You got to check out Othello-san.